Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Trav's Told You, an August 24th, 25th edition. Living in a real weird world right now where I recorded technically the episode that released on today's podcast midnight, and then I'm recording yesterday. It's all kerfuffle. It's all a mess and everything like that. But yeah, I am here because I thought about this at one point. It's like, oh, usually now I'm recording Trav's Told You early in the morning and late at night. Well, late at night tonight, we got our She-Hulk. If you're up for that, stay tuned. And also, if you listen to the podcast feed, that's already happened, then go listen to our She-Hulk review. But I have the She-Hulk review coming up, so okay, I can't be doing the midnight stuff. And do I want to be up that early to try to do this podcast? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the midnight reviews, they go a little long, and they can feel a little tiring the next day. But luckily, Warner Brothers today just decided to fill up my show, fill to the brim. But yeah, and I'm starting a little earlier. I'd said 8 p.m. But going a little earlier because right after this, I'm recording a nice episode with Dylan Muss. We're doing something. It will be on the main feeds eventually, but something, I was going to say side quest, but out of mana, something game related, something very fun. We're going to be doing a PlayStation All-Stars 2 roster, so that's going to be a good time. Like I said, yeah, She-Hulk review. Trav's Told You is happening 4 days a week. Right now, it's Tuesday to Friday. It's all over. Just look at the feeds. I'll be there. Head down to the links below. As I said this, I forgot to put it in the other links. I'll have to do in She-Hulk, and this right now is for the next week. I guess maybe until Monday. We have a survey going on. It's our pinned tweet on Twitter. I'll try to put it in the description here, but it's on Twitter, Facebook. Please go try and do that. As we said, lots of big stuff's happening in 2023, so we always want your input on what you like, what you dislike, what you want to change, what you want to see more of, the spin-off shows, GeekVerse overall's brand, some other things. So we always appreciate your input because this is a fan support network and we can't do anything without you. So we like to, yeah, we have plans, some of them cemented. Luckily, the ones that are cemented are the ones you would very much like because they're getting good reviews, scores on the survey and everything like that. But we're always looking to kind of go the direction that everyone, as far as listening and watching, wants us to go. So that's why go do that, and then you can let your input be heard. As I've said before, it's not on Patreon, it's for public access, and it's anonymous. So you don't got to worry about, hey, if I want to say something bad or say critique, but I don't want to hurt our feelings. One, we wouldn't take it as hurt feelings, but two, this is your chance because you don't gotta show your cards, right? But as we said, we're fan supported, and that's by listening to this podcast, and then most importantly, heading over to Patreon. You get these episodes ad free and early. You get exclusive episodes. That's what we'll actually be. Speaking of DC, I guess I should pimp that out. Myself, Kirklin, and Taylor. We are recording a DC reboot cast. Is that going to be happening? Who knows? I think some developments from that kind of go towards, okay, I don't think it's going to be. We're going to talk about that in a second. But it's kind of the thing of if we were to reboot, if DC was to reboot, what would they do? What would be their slate? What would be their face? Stuff like that. Who would maybe some of the actors and actresses they would cast? So it's going to be a good time. That's going to be in the Phase 2 tier, and depending on what tier you get up to 3 exclusive episodes after 9, and yeah, the more you support us, the more content we can create. This show, side quests, retrospectives, extra newscasts, all of you fuel that machine going on. So let's just get right down to, because like I said, there's lots to talk about. So Warner Brothers put out a bunch of stuff today, and then it was a trickle effect of, I guess, bad news, continuing bad news. So we've talked about this a few times this week, right? Where the stock's not going good. They're losing lots of money, but who knows? Hopefully they can turn around for them, or maybe not hopefully, depending on who you ask and where you are on the side of things. But I guess I would like it to turn around because I really don't want to go through another sale. But at the same time, if this is a terrible owner, then sure, let's go through another sale again and get our hopes up and be crushed one more time. But so they put out some reports. I'm going to talk about the Evil Dead thing a little bit later, but the main thing was they are doing a big shuffle again with DC. DC is all over the map as far as we are getting Shazam moved into March of next year, and then we are getting Aquaman moved all the way to 2023 December. And it's funny because it was originally supposed to be this December, right? So we're getting like a full year kick from when it was supposed to, and then also we got a few months with the March, but big delays happening. Flash did not move, so that's interesting as far as what's going to happen, everything like that. And it's so funny, I suppose I've seen that meme already of Black Adam's box office single-handedly controlling the fate of the DCU. Yeah, that's what's interesting. So before we get into the specifics of those ones, so this came out shuffling going on. Now, Boris Kit had put out something, and he is, for people that don't know, you want to talk about like tiers of Scooper, he is top shit. He's king shit. He's one of those guys that I feel like everybody kind of says. Hey, I can't remember if he put out. I felt like for some reason he put out that Alec Baldwin and Joker one, but like the times he's wrong is very few and far in between. And don't even quote me on that. I just feel like I've seen maybe one where it ended up being wrong, but it's very few and far in between. Lots of the other scoopers, like when Boris Kit puts something out, they've always talked about how much respect they have for him, and like this is likely. You can just take it to the bank. So he had said a few things. I guess I should pull up his Twitter because I don't want to misquote, and I know sometimes I do paraphrase. I don't want to in this situation because it's a touchy subject. But so all this came out, right? They were on the headlines, making all these announcements. We'll kind of talk about that, everything like that. But so where was it? So there was 3 separate ones he said. So these moves underscore what a financial mess Warner Brothers Discovery is, as the studios has only enough cash to release 2 movies from now until the end of this year. Don't worry, darn Black Adam. He did respond later when he was corrected, as far as small correction, low budget comedy House Party intended for HBO Max is now getting a December release. So make that 3, but no denying that the no money to market movies problem is the studio. The problem is the problem that the studio is facing right now. And then he was described as someone, one producer says they have no money and no clues. So that's why you always go if true, right? Because that is a crazy thing to put out there, right? As far as this could be them penny pinching and stuff like that. But the fact that you have a company, a studio, if these movies were delayed because we don't have enough money to properly market these, that's embarrassing, and that's bad, and that's not good, and that's just a sign of things have been not going well for Warner ever since that Batgirl week. Like that was the start of it, but then the earnings call didn't go good, and I feel like it's just one thing after another, whether it's creative side. I feel like yesterday, at least, the Matt Reeves thing was a win for them, at least. Like, hey, we got this great director going to build a foundation. Who knows what foundation he's building and who he's going to be building it with, but like even Joker or like Harley Quinn and Joker, that wasn't like a blow up. Man, this is some crazy big news. They do need some wins here, and that's where like Black Adam, and it's interesting with the 3 movies, right? So you look at if they don't have a budget to put out these movies, things are put in all a bad perspective of the next few years, and I don't know how they're going to recover. Because don't worry, darling, let's take a look here. I don't even know if that, because lots of times movies don't have their budgets out until it's like a lot closer to release time, because they have to start putting these type of numbers out, stuff like that. But sometimes they're out there. But let's see if there is a budget for that. Either way, I think there is buzz on this movie. People are excited, but I don't think this is so. 20 million, great, easy, profitable. But at the same time, I love the trailers, and for me, when I saw the first trailer, I went, oh, boom, one of my most anticipated films of the year. I don't think Don't Worry, Darling is going to have like a breakout Get Out or Us thing. I could be wrong. September is like a quietly packed month of movies when there's like Letterboxd, but what are your most excited, for anticipated movies for September? When I saw it, I was like, geez Louise, there's some good, hopeful, like, juice bangers coming out, like, we love that GV juice. So I think it will be a success. I just don't know what it's going to do going forward. Everyone's bugging Harry Styles about that clip. He's sure not having a great week. It's so funny because I do really like Harry Styles now. I no preference about him at all, but that interview he gave, there's some stuff that was kind of in the middle, and not anything overly bad, just maybe not the greatest comments as far as like, I don't know if it's a kind of I don't think people are running with entitled. It's just not, they haven't been the greatest. But at the same time, lots of these quotes, I kind of go, okay, people are making a big deal out of it. I think the ones about his sexuality are very tough, but at the same time, he's not wrong. And the clip, his accent was a little in and out. It didn't bug me too much. I got what people were talking about, but I wasn't like, this is completely awful. But maybe in the full sense of the film, I'll see that. But either way, so that movie coming out, right? And it's pretty much already marketed, and it's a smaller one. That has to just be on word of mouth, buzz, and stuff like that, right? Black Adam now. And House Party coming in December. I can almost see why he forgot that. It was intended for HBO Max. I think that's a movie that will get minimal marketing. And I'm going to talk about that again with Shazam coming up. It's going to get minimal marketing. It's coming on December. They're just hoping that people around Christmas will choose to, oh, we could go see this. Black Adam, man, it is... a lot is riding on that movie. I already thought a lot was before, and it's just because now with DC, I guess more importantly, Warner Brothers or WBD, Discovery, whatever the hell, they're having a bad time, and they could really use a hit. They could use a win. Now, these announcements of Matt Reeves, Lady Gaga, and Joker, sure, those are mini wins, but a win on paper is for this film to come out and be a big success. I don't think it even has to be critically. I don't think they care about that. If they cared about critically, they'd maybe stop doing some of these decisions that are making people mad at them, right? I think it's just pure box office. And I've said this before where, now, we talked about this yesterday, last night, whenever, this morning. Halloween is now going day and date with Peacock. At the same time, though, I don't think that had much to do with as far as getting in the way of Black Adam. I really don't. I think those have different audiences. I think there's tons of people like myself and listeners here where, of course, we love horror films and superhero films, but I feel the Venn diagram of the crossover, it's not huge, right? The huge thing is that comes out October 21st, and then is it 2 weeks or 3 weeks it gets before Wakanda Forever? Let me take a look. So it only gets 2 weeks. And let me just double check that there's nothing out the 28th. I thought there was something out the 28th, but it's like very, very on the smaller side, like independent and stuff like that. It's not Amsterdam, but I thought it was something like that, where it's maybe Oscar Beatty. So let's go October. So let's see. Pray for the Devil. Yeah, right. That's that Exorcist movie coming out for Christmas. I would imagine if that just comes out and like beats Black Adam or something like that. So it has about 2 weeks to run game. After Wakanda, it's over for... Oh no, I was wrong. There you go. Someone... good, I did it before the chat got me. Black Panther Wakanda is actually only... it's November 11th. For some reason, I thought November 4th was in my brain. So... they got 3 weeks. Okay, so because November 4th is really nothing. It's a bunch of like smaller indie stuff like the Weird Al story and stuff like that. And what does Wakanda have? So it has next week She Said, the week after that Strange World, and then Violent Night, House Party. It's funny, the House Party is like I'd say like the biggest thing coming out until Black Panther. So Black Panther, wow, everyone really cleared the path for Black Panther. So that's going to make tons of money. And if it sticks around for December too, I see tons of people sticking around seeing that. So Black Adam, it has 3 weeks pretty much to itself. So that's a good sign. All to me this has to be is a crowd pleaser. 3 weeks of playtime. This just has to be a crowd pleaser. This has to be, now I'm not, please do not say I'm making this comparison of it has to be Top Gun. No, but the thing that made people like Top Gun is I think Top Gun is I will say it's a great movie. I don't think it's like all-time great. I don't even think it's the top 5 movies of the year, and that's just because the year's been stellar. If it was another year, maybe, but I don't think it's... I think it's great, but it still goes on a lot of the similar beats, right? But if you want to talk about legacy sequels, yeah, it's up there. But the way that film had a crowd-pleasing, fun time, you want to see it with people... that's what you want for Black Adam. I still think October is not the greatest because now there's some movements that's better for it, but that just doesn't scream like an October movie for me. But you can always, like playing devil's advocate, doesn't matter. If you got a hit, you got a hit. Doesn't matter what time of month, right? At one point, December wasn't like that. Now people love putting movies out in December. So if it doesn't really have the money like behind it and doesn't make it back in that 3 weeks and have a good haul, that is a sign of it's not good. The other thing that they had is there's like an untitled film coming out February. I know people are saying, oh, that's Batgirl. It doesn't seem like that. We're going to talk about it in a little bit as far as that odds go down more and more. But as far as the promotion, and what they need is they need a big hit, right? They need the stock to bounce back, and they need some good press. They need some wins. Now, the hope is that they're going to do this just because I feel like technically they could. Here's the thing. They could market those films, but I guarantee they'd just probably go a bit more into debt and stuff like that. And they might be able to get it back with the film's release and stuff, but they want to guarantee it. And I think that they want to just make sure going into next year we can market those films in full. Now, if this year goes bad, let's say Black Adam doesn't go well, and let's say the stock continues to drop or do poorly, I could see stuff like Shazam getting a very smaller marketing campaign, like not the greatest. We're like, oh, we don't see Shazam around that much. It's because we can maybe eat it on Shazam. Flash is June, and then Aquaman's December. I feel like that should give you enough time to, okay, recover and actually start promoting, pushing these things out. So I would not be surprised about Shazam kind of being a lamb to slaughter. I don't think they want that. They want any movie right now to be a hit. But if it's like, okay, one movie that if we have a little less marketing budget next year, what could it be? Well, Shazam. Aquaman, no. Obviously, I think that is coming out. Jason Momoa says he trusts their 10-year plan. It's funny, and because he said that, and then all this news came out, he just has to say that. He can't come out there and say, "Oh fuck, I don't trust this Zazoff guy at all. I've talked to him, and man, this is a danger." He could say that after Aquaman, and he gets his money, but he's not going to be saying shit like that right now. Shazam, that was the right move. It doesn't matter about, because that's the debate, right? With Avatar, is like, how big is it going to be? Is it going to be as big as the first one? No. Is it going to disappoint? That depends your definition, but I'd say no. As far as, to me, if a movie is overly profitable, it's not a disappointment. I think Avatar will at least be overly profitable. I feel like 600 million is like guaranteed, and that's like lowballing and stuff like that. And even then, if it were to disappoint, as Sandberg said today, as far as like he's impatient, wants the movie to come out, but at the same time, Avatar has all the IMAX screens booked, all those huge screens to show off a movie. It's Avatar, and it makes sense. As a theater, you're going to look at the box office of both of them and, the carbon footprint. Okay, which one should get all the IMAX screens? So even people going to see Shazam and IMAX now will get it a little bit more money. So the move was always the right move to do. The question is now, have they done it for the right reasons? If they can't market it or it's going to get light marketing, no, not really. But even then, I feel like it stands a better chance as far as in March. And let's go there, because Espub's brought up a question as far as how that's what you can do. Patreon at any tier, you can send a question for topics. I sent them in this people, but I know time zones, it's still a bit later. But anyway, so March, let's see if First Showing is updated there. They have. First Showing, that's firstshowing.net is the go-to best website if you're a fan or just a fellow podcaster. Use that for dates. It's the best, cleanest. Box Office Mojo used to be really good. As everyone knows, Box Office Mojo is fucking terrible now. So it used to have a good kind of coming soon thing. So March is what I would say is, so look at this. So February, Ant-Man and the Wasp comes out. That has about 2 weeks until you get Creed and Dungeons & Dragons at in March 3rd, which even then I feel like, I wonder if they're just having Ant-Man that late into February to keep it away from Avatar if it does have game and does really well. But I still think you should release it a little bit earlier, because to me March is filled with a bunch of, and like what Espubs was talking about in the question, as far as like they're all different varieties, which will help it, but at the same time they're still franchises, right? These to me are all like the B plus box office movies. Now, when you think of B or B plus, you might think, oh, that's really terrible, right? No. I'm not talking about like Cinema Score that. I'm talking box office where S tier is your bona fide. We didn't know Top Gun was going to be that, but S tier is the record breaker, right? The $1 billion, No Way Home, stuff like that. I'd even put Doctor Strange in that. And for me, I would put Avatar and Wakanda for expectations of it being an S tier. A tier is it's going to be a massive, like it's going to be a really big hit, make a lot of money. And I'd say S tier is a massive hit. So massive hit, big hit, and then the B tier is like a solid to really good hit. That's what I feel about all these, where they always make the budget back. You have something like John Wick, right? Where you've looked at that, it's climbed. But the first one, it was like, I think it was like a $30 million budget and made like 65, where it's like, okay, that's a hit. It's profitable. Actually, I think it made more than that. But either way, it was like, it was profitable. Now it's going to bug me. Let me take a look here. John Wick. And this is just good for example of like what I consider like a B is like, it's gonna make more than its budget back. Yeah, so budget was 25 to 30 million, and then box office for John Wick was 86 million. And I bet the P&A wasn't too huge, because I feel like I didn't see that advertised everywhere. I feel like it was a good word of mouth movie, but all these films to me operate in that same, has a solid budget, doesn't need to break an arm and a leg to make a profit, but could also not flounder, but just like it could like disappoint a little bit, and maybe that's good, or not good, but it's not too bad because the budget's lower. Let's take a look here. Let's go down this list after we take this next ad break. And we're back. So you got March 3rd. Creed, I didn't, because I know Creed got delayed. Suck it, Taylor. I know Creed got delayed. Even then, I'm pretty sure I have to do I got to do a box office rankings. update. It's all, my path is all, because Nope even didn't kind of disappoint for me. My path is all about Wakanda, so I hope that does well. March 3rd, Creed 3, and then Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I think Dungeons and Dragons gonna eat it. Creed 3 is gonna be the successful one. How successful, I don't know, but people are saying they're hearing great things about it as far as the test screenings. Sequel was popular, so I think this will do well. It'll do as well as last ones, if not better. Haunted Mansion, you got the Disney machine, and I think they want to get it right this time. I think the Eddie Murphy one was kind of a blunder, missed opportunity, especially when you saw it happen with Pirates. So they want to get that right. And then Shazam: Fury of the Gods is out March 17th. That's the one we're talking about, obviously. And then the next week after that's John Wick Chapter 4, and the week after that is Scream 6. Woo, that is a busy Geek First month. What the fuck is Champions? Because that's even above John Wick on the March 24th. What is Champions here? It centers on a basketball team training and completing Special Olympics under the guidance of an imperfect but dedicated Coach Marcus. Who's starring as Coach Marcus? Woody Harrelson. Heard nothing about this movie. So that sounds more like a almost Oscar baity, things like that. But S-Bubs, John Wick literally only had 2 weeks of marketing. 100%, right? And that's where it's like, I felt like that was just pure word of mouth, because I feel like when we saw John Wick the first one, we all went, oh, it's probably going to be another bad Keanu movie, right? But it wasn't. It was great. Now he's had a string of good ones. So, how do I feel about all these? So, like I said, Dungeons and Dragons, I think that could be DOA. That to me has bomb written all over it. As far as I know, Dungeons and Dragons is big as everything, but I still feel it has like a. I wonder how the community feels about that, because I feel like there's lots of lore stuff, but at the same time, it feels very Guardians of the Galaxy, very quippy and stuff like that. I just don't know if it's going to transcend. It's the same way as like Warcraft, the movie, where I think there's definitely some video game properties that could jump over and be successful, movies, TV shows, etc. Right? I think with Dungeons and Dragons, I just feel like that audience won't care, and they are happy with it being in media, but they don't need a Dungeons and Dragons film. We'll see. Oh, combo breaker with the neck crack there, but I don't think that's gonna do well. Creed 3 will do well. Good thing I think Creed and Shazam, different audiences for the most part, right? Other than I feel like our listeners, myself and our listeners, we're like, the film Twitter and stuff like that. So that's where it's like, I feel like we're seeing these all. Like GeekVerse will be reviewing all these in some form or fashion. Haunted Mansion, that to me is an interesting one of like, let me look and see what Disney is going on October, because I feel like that's a missed opportunity. October, you got Saw, well, this is not Disney, but you got Saw 10, you got Paw Patrol, Exorcist, Madam Web, and True Love. What is True Love? I don't think that is a Disney movie. So I honestly think they should punt that to plot details are under wrap. Great. Gemma Chan, Allison Janney, John David Washington, Ken Watanabe. Fuck, this is a stacked cast. Who's directing this? Gareth Edwards? Man. Okay, hell yeah. But in my opinion, they should eat it, Geekers eat it. And they should punt this all the way October. There's not really there's the Paw Patrol Mighty movie, but people still like to go see a family friendly type of, horror movie, haunted, scary movie, stuff like that. So it coming out in March, not good. I know Disney likes a big March. That's usually where they put a lot of their Disney live action stuff, but I think that is a date. So Haunted Mansion could maybe not do the greatest. S-Bub says, Chris Evans says, I'm late, but hi. No, that's no problem at all, sir. It's all good. It's good thing is that's what instant replay is for, right? I don't know anything about D&D, but I'm excited. I like the cast a lot, and I'll be there, see how many people are in that audience. That's how I feel. The same too, says Christopher Evans. Yeah, I think that you obviously need the mainstream people, right? We always talk about those comic books. If just the comic book audience came and saw those movies, they would not be the monster hits they are. So I just mean like you still need that audience to get people going, but at the same time, I would say, okay, you could get some general word of mouth, maybe people liking it, great. But with that stacked month, you do get that situation where people will save their money, and I think a family's gonna maybe see Haunted Mansion, so people will see Shazam, people see John Wick and Scream 6. I just feel like if you look at Creed 3, Dungeons & Dragons, Haunted Mansion, Shazam, John Wick, and Scream 6. Out of those movies, people in the chat, tell me what you would see last. I just feel there's gonna be a lot of people that would pick Dungeons and Dragons last, and I would out of those ones, and that's where I'm biased, but I would. So Shazam, about the question of will it do better in March? Absolutely, because it's away from Avatar, but it's still a very stacked month. Now you hope you could be the top dog like Aquaman was its Christmas, right, where you got Aquaman, Mary Poppins, and Bumblebee, and it came out and kicked our asses, and I didn't even think that was going to happen. good thing. So John Wick Chapter 4 and Scream 6, radar movies, and I think different audiences, action audience, horror audience. So I feel like it's safe from those two. I feel like luckily in Creed 3, I feel like that is a more, that's a sports audience and it's a drama audience. So if you're looking at maybe the family friendlier movie, that'd be Haunted Mansion or family adventure movie, Dungeons, Dragons, Shazam. I think Shazam has a good chance to beat those two. So I actually think Shazam, it's still a busy, crowded month, which sucks for Shazam. It can never just have some time alone with it. But maybe they also, again, Warner Brothers Discovery looks at it, they go, I don't think this is going to be really worth like it's not looking at like a big hit. It was already made. Let's put it out there. So I think it has a chance to beat. If I was going to rank these movies as far as what I would see, Christopher Evans says Scream is my first priority. Your first priority. What would be mine out of these? It is. The only one that's tough for me is Creed 3 because I'm really excited to see B. Jordan directed, and I love that franchise. Did not really love the Rocky franchise. I thought it was fine. There's like some emotion there, but it's one of those bro-y franchises. Creed, I think, kind of took that down, but I think I agree with you. If I had a gun in my head, probably Scream because I'm a horror junkie, but it'd be tough to turn away Creed 3. Espo says, I've become a Marcel Rodriguez fan, so watching 8 last week by watching 8 Fast and Furious movies in 7 days. Yeah, that'll do it. Scream first for sure. Haven't seen the other Creed movies, so I'd have to say Creed 3 last. And that's fair, yeah. So I think it has, if I were to say what would win the month out of the Shazam and March thing, let's look at Chapter 4, right, with John Wick. Oh man, I'm on the Wikipedia now. But I feel like it didn't beat Shazam, right? Because they always make a lot of money, but versus its budget. Why'd I go to I went to Chapter 4 like it's gonna have some fucking let's take a look here. Actually 327 million. I think Shazam, isn't it just kind of under 400 million its final box office? Don't bother searching. I read on the Wikipedia. 366. So 366 versus 327. That's really close. Wikipedia. That's very close. So, and I feel like John Wick is just like building up. So again, I don't think that's going to hurt it though, because I feel they'll both be successful. So I don't think it could win the month. Out of that, I think it could be number 2 because I think it could be fighting with John Wick. Let's take a look to Creed as well, because I feel like Creed, again, in these like B hits, I feel like it is in that sort of realm as far as this type of money. Creed, it's even lower, 214, which is still good. 50 million budget, not too bad. So yeah, I would say likely John Wick could take it, but Shazam could have a good run. It is a sequel, so there is some familiar films before it, but again, even then, it's like Haunted Mansion, family film, Disney, very different. So, and then with Aquaman, oh boy, let's talk about Aquaman, right? So that got delayed. Juan, he posted some really, really cool concept art, stuff that I really liked as far as, there's one in particular where it was about like the battle and the war and everything like that, what was going on, and it just looked cool, and I was like, man, I can't wait to see this on screen. People are joking that he's releasing concept art because he doesn't believe his movie's gonna ever come out. Hopefully that's not the case. I don't think it is. But go look at that concept art. One's for the thumbnail, but the war one really, really cool. Like, I just can't wait to see this thing go down. So that gets delayed, and now we're in a situation where, okay, so before we had the Flash, old regime, right? Flash coming out, Keaton's going to be this stand-in Batman until they figure it out or put Batgirl in. He's going to be an Aquaman. Audiences were confused by that and didn't make much sense because like, oh, how'd he get there? Test audiences, right? Because they hadn't seen Flash. Didn't make much sense. So now this whole thing was, okay, well, a couple weeks ago, we're going to film something with Ben Affleck, and it's going to make it make sense, It's going to make it... more clear to the audience, because then we'll get Aquaman and then Flash, and Flash will be this new universe. And then it's like today we get the news that Aquaman's all the way after Flash, and that would mean, okay, we're back to it being, in that same continuity before, and you would maybe assume, oh, hey, is the Keaton scene back? Not necessarily. It's something you have to ask, right? Because it happened. But the reason I would say no is because they just filmed that post-credit, and we had heard weeks ago that they were already talking about switching some of these dates. I think Aquaman in December was already a rumor, right, where it was like Flash is unknown. So the fact that they just filmed that and then they did these delays, they have some sort of plan. Is the plan going to work out and get them the win? That's the unknown factor, and that's the fact, right? I don't know. But what we're assuming from this is, okay, maybe the old Flash film, which is funny. There's that whole sequence. I don't want to spoil it actually, because maybe people, I don't know what they've seen set photos or whatnot, but there was a whole get the scene of maybe like alluding to that, right? Where we were getting Batgirl. Well, it's public knowledge. I shouldn't even, whatever. There was a scene where supposedly at the end of this movie, it was the universes are set and Keaton is in our universe and they're talking. You can see it was the first set photos that released of Keaton as Wayne, which is funny. We might not ever see this. But it's them talking in Gotham or Star City or something like that, and we may never see that. And now it's seeming like that lots of people are theorizing as far as the scoopers that it seems like Keaton is a one-off. It's a one and done. The Keaton front of it, I'm just, all I want is his Flash performance. Even that stuff that gets cut, please at least just put it on a deleted scenes DVD, stuff like that. I love Keaton's Flash. I get why some people didn't want the old, or Keaton's Flash, Keaton's Batman. I get why they didn't want the grandpa Batman or him to be the continuing DCU Batman. I got all those stuff, right? I still got why the old regime made the change. I thought it was still not the smartest move, but still a move. I thought it was the smartest move in the circumstances. I think probably a reboot or like a hard Flashpoint was probably the smarter choice. But at the end of the day, I think it's still a great idea as far as, okay, we're doing some sort of time travel movie, bring Keaton back. I've always wanted to see Keaton as Batman. And I think like the diehard Batflick or DCEU Snyder fans, they'll be more accepting of, okay, we're getting Keaton just as one-off. It's like a tribute show. Here we go. And tons of those people, like, I hate to say this, I don't mean it, but there's tons of people that are just big fans of Snyder's DC movies and not DC. Not even saying comic books, video games, TV shows, just the movies, everything in general. They like Snyder's things. So anything that's not Snyder's DC, it sucks, it's trash, everything like that. I've seen that a lot. Luckily, I'm happy that's not our fan base. That's fine if you can say Snyder's is your favorite and that's what you prefer and stuff like that. But to not see what even just as a huge icon, what started this franchise is a big deal, right? So I think this is big as far as it is disappointing for myself because I'm somebody that wants to see more Keaton, but I do get if we're pivoting, why does it make sense anymore? What I'm hoping is beyond all hopes that I know they're looking at this and maybe that's the plan, where the idea is now that, okay, the Aquaman film's going to come out. It's going to have Ben Affleck because old regime, right? Flash happens, end of Flash, Michael Keaton's in this universe, new universe, go. This is seeming like Flash happens, there's another universe out there, but when it all gets set, we're still in our DCU. So instead of the universe changing, maybe he just travels to a different universe. The best case scenario is what I want. Is just still to see it. I still want to see Michael Keaton in this movie. I think that's going to happen. Again, if they want to talk about, what people are liking and stuff like that, we always hear these reports that like the test screens, Keaton stuff, like kills and stuff like that. Like he does a really good job. So like the Batgirl thing, I still understand. Still think there was a way. Still think if people love Keaton, it's like, wow, we have something with Keaton right here. My hope is that, okay, we see it one, and if we want to do more, we get a, Elseworlds, Batman Beyond, Batman in a universe sort of deal. And I get that. That's completely fine. If it is just a one and done, that's fine. I don't know if this regime would have had that forefront, this one, because it seems like they're getting rid of Keaton stuff. We don't know if it's because, we don't want an older Batman, or it's because just the continuity. I think if you don't see the money in Keaton, you're dumb. Nostalgia huge. Like ever since, I'd say 2015 is when it really got juicing with Force Awakens, and then you've got Ghostbusters, Creed, stuff like that. Look at fucking No Way Home. If you look at this and go, there's probably not much money in having Keaton as Batman, I don't have much faith in this. So I hope that if we do get any more, it is just set in that separate universe. If it is just a one-off, that's fine. I'm just happy we're going to get it, because there's a part of me that thought we may never get it. There's a part of me that thought Keaton might pass away and we're never going to get to do an old man Bruce or Batman Beyond. So even if it's just this, great. Same way as No Way Home. I think one day we will get more of Tobey and Andrew. But if we don't, we got it one more time, and that's great. And I'll always have that film. So at the end of the day, as long as we get that, I'm happy, because that's all I ever wanted at first, right? Was, okay, he's come back for a time travel adventure. Great. When it was always Nick Fury, all this stuff, I did get excited. I liked some of that pitch, but at the same time, I'm fine if that stuff's going away because we want to go in a different route. S. Bub says, have the Batflick scenes in the movie and then the Keaton scene as a post-credit. Just have them the exact same scene. And again, I still hope they release one day, because I just want to see Michael Keaton and Jason Momoa interact. I think that's really fun. And again, that's what I hate about the Batgirl thing of, that is the problem with these shared universe, because you don't want people to think this or they are going to get confused. Sometimes we just want to see cool shit. Now, that was just for a tax write-off, and we know it. But with that, it's just like, I want to see it. I want to see Momoa and Keaton acting together. That'd be fun, even as just a DVD feature. Cool. It's like, hey, this is the route we were going. We're going a different route, and here we are. You know, hey, we're getting content about Toby and Andrew in about a week. Yeah, we are. I don't know. I won't be seeing that. I think I'll wait till YouTube. I was more inclined when the rumors was like 19, 20 minutes. Now it's like 11. And I've seen some of the footage from the trailer, like Peter at the gym, and like, no, I can wait to YouTube that. Christopher Evans, I don't think they'd piss off Affleck again. The release date delay rumors started the day Batfleck being canned, I believe. Yeah, I think you are right, Evans, where it was around that time where there's going to be more shuffles and everything like that. So that brings us all the way to all the way to Affleck, right? Because Keane, just let me see him. I'm happy. If we get more, great. If not, we're getting one more Keaton. I'm happy with that. And again, maybe it's just like I don't believe for a second why you couldn't, if you're doing the Batman and you're doing Joker, and let's just say people want more fucking Michael Keaton, the same way why Sony, I don't get, hasn't acted on the Spider-Man stuff. People want more of those characters, act on it. People will take multiple heroes. But setting Keaton aside, now we get to Affleck, you know? No trouble, controversy there, right? So Affleck, that was a longer drink break than anticipated. I apologize for that. Affleck. We've had this conversation so many times. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. He's just filming the scene for Aquaman to make it a bit more clear. And then when Flash happens, that's going to set up the new universe. Well, now it's like, oh, well, it's seeming like that might not set up a new universe. Maybe Flash is just traveling different universes, but then we get back to the Snyderverse, right? And I don't know how that works. How does it work with Sasha Kaye? How does it work with maybe Zod being back? Or not maybe, Zod is back. How does it work with all these things, right? I've said this before. I like BVS enough. I have my issues with it. I'm not like a diehard fan of it. I've always said I'm like a 7 out of 10, somewhere in there if you're a newer fan, right? I like Justice League a lot. I guess I could say I love Justice League, like the Snyder Cut version of it. Always thought he was a great Batman. And I do think, even though I love Robert Pattinson, I do think there's a chance that if we got a solo Batman movie with Ben Affleck, he could have been the best. And I think there's arguments that you could make that he is the best. I think the way he plays his like fake Bruce Wayne is outstanding. And I do think he is like sometimes the closest to the animated series, which to me is like the peak Batman. But Pattinson has it as well too, and I'm excited to see I like the whole always discovering the Bruce Wayne side, but I do want him to get the mask up, and I want to see that. So that's why I want to wait, because Pattinson's a fucking great actor. I think he could pull it off. Like if he has a similar version of Bruce like he does in Tenet, that'd be great. So, but as far as that, I could easily say even better than Bale that it could happen. Obviously no solo film as far as with him yet. I am down for Affleck being around, but it's just it's weird because people go, well, I don't want Keaton because I don't want a 7-year-old Batman. Okay, that's fine. If Affleck is, and like Chris Evans, perfect time, says, just my opinion, but Affleck to Bruce could have been like Robert Downey to Stark. And I agree with that, but what people are saying, this comparison now of saying, oh, well, what he could be using going forward is just like how Robert Downey was used in those small roles in the MCU. Do you want that too? Because to me, I was honestly perfectly fine. I know people go, I don't want Batgirl being Batman. I want these characters. Yeah, I do too, but it's like there's fucking comic books, anime shows, TV shows. It's all there. Go read it. Pick up a book. For me, I was completely fine with Keaton's the Nick Fury and a Shepard's and Batgirl. If we're going to have a Justice League and Batgirl is our Bat character for that, great, sure. If Affleck is here to do hey, I'm going to do the Downey stuff, but when we do Justice League 2, I'll have a full-on like Downey and Civil War, Infinity War type of role. Then great, I'm all for that. It is still a bummer if we have a DCU Batman and he can't ever have a solo film, but you're doing the Batman, so sure, I'm fine if he just wants to be a crossover guy, great. If he is just, I'm going to pop in for 10 to 15 minutes every movie and just going to have a small role, is that also worth it too? For the people that are diehard Snyderverse fans, oh, absolutely, I love Batman, I love Affleck, everything like that. Okay, sure. But for the people complaining, I don't want my Batman to be 7 years old. If Batman is just a 5-minute cameo movies, what's the point of that? Okay, you got a big star Ben Affleck to appear in the Cal every once in a while. Cool. I hope even if they would have ended Flash and it's like, we don't want to go the Keaton route, we want to recast, or we just want to leave it open-ended, sure, do that. But if it is, we're cementing that this is Affleck and he's back, I want a commitment from the dude. Now, 100%, this is first world stuff, right? He had some issues, he had some life problems he had to work out, and that's why a lot of that shit went down. So I'm not putting that completely on him. Some stuff is on him, but like he got help, he fixed it, great. Um, so hopefully none of that stuff would arise again. And my hope is the pitches, they talk to him, hey, we want to do some more. Would you be down to actually do this? It'd be strange because he just within this past year said, I have no interest in doing big blockbuster IP movies. So for him filming the Aquaman stuff to me made sense of, okay, it's quick, it fills in a timeline thing, it's a paycheck. Great. So that's why I don't see Affleck as like a even Downey post Civil War player as far as like the big Avengers movies, right? I'll say Downey Avengers level. I don't know if I see him as that. And if it is, I just hope that there is a commitment. Like I said, obviously last time life problems gone the way. Understandably, things happen. People make mistakes. He's moving forward. He looks like he's in a great place in his life. And I would like that. I would like him to be Batman again. It'd be great if he was our crossover Batman. He was our Downey Avengers Batman. Absolutely. But if it's just small roles or, hey, he's back, and then in a month or like a year or 2 years from now, he's done again, I'm just over it. And I'm just over the like Batflick, make the solo Batflick movies happen, stuff like that. It's the shit or get off the pot scenario, right? And that's what I want with Affleck. Like, are you in or out? Even making the comments of like, I don't want to do any big blockbuster movies. Well, if you sign on to do more Batman shit, you are doing that. And again, it's fun to see him there, but him as when I think of his performances, I think of BVS and I think of Justice League. I don't think of Suicide Squad where, okay, it's a fun little scene with Amanda Waller, but I don't think of a quick cameo like that. Sure, he's in the movie and Batman's in the movie. I don't want that for our crossover Batman. I would rather have Batgirl in that situation. If he's just in 5 to 10 minute movies, no. Or 10 minute movies, just 5 to 10 minute appearances, no. Have Batgirl, have Robin, Nightwing, have a replacement as Batman. Somebody recast the actor. If we're going to go forward and keep this universe, then like I said, figure it out. And that's my only concern with Affleck because we've gone back and forth so much with the guy, right? And, it's not all fair to put it on him. But at the same point, it is a business. And it's like, hey, if you're going to not reboot, which probably would be the easier thing to do right now. But now also was my theory was, okay, if they are going to reboot, you do all these movies, you do Flash, and then boom, that can be your end universe, right? Flash is no longer the ending. It's like the penultimate for our slate right now. I guess right now it's supposed to be I guess we're supposed to get Flash and as of right now Blue Beetle in August, hopefully, and then Aquaman in December. So I don't know. I would love it if he's back. I'd love to actually get some good, juicy performances out of him again, but only time will tell with all this stuff. And now the time before is just like, at least Flash is that point, but now with some of these decisions, it is still, okay, what are you doing? I do think we are leaning more towards, and it's good timing for our Patreon exclusive. It's still, it's going to be a fun exercise as far as I think it's leaning more towards they're not going to reboot with the stuff. They're going to try and salvage what they have. But someone brought up a good point as far as, I can't remember who tweeted it out as far as, okay, if you're trying to penny pinch, keeping these stars, Affleck, Momoa, that's not the route. So it's like you can penny, it feels like they're trying to eat their cake and, bake their cake and have it too, or bake their cake and eat it too. There you go, which lots of times you bake cake and eat it. So I don't know why they do that expression. But if you want to, they're like cutting these films like Batgirl and maybe Wonder Twins and all these other things that are smaller, right? But it's like the bigger like marketing and budgets are probably going to be on these ones that have bigger stars in them, right? So if it's a full-on penny pinching, they should just flat out reboot, get a bunch of young, talented people that have small contracts that you can make some money off as when they get expensive. You're either doing better or you say, c'est la vie, we're moving on, right? But Affleck, Godot, what we've heard about Cavill, Momoa, all these people, I don't know. And even Affleck, they got brought back to film some stuff in Aquaman. So I'm interested to see what happens in the next little while. But again, these announcements about the future, this is 2023 next year. It could be a while before we're like, to me, I was like, okay, in June of next year or July, we're going to get that answer with the Flash. And then we can kind of keep building forward and see what the maybe supposed, they don't have a 10-year plan, but maybe they would at that point, right? Now it's like, I feel like we could be waiting until December till we kind of got any sort of semblance of what an actual idea is and stuff like that. So we'll see. The other thing that Boris Skit reported is that apparently they were having something that people on the inside were calling funeral screenings. It was apparently they were showing off. I wrote the wrong thing there. They were showing off screenings of Batgirl. Now the directors, they put out some kind of video of like, doing support and stuff like that. We talked about yesterday where the footage they weren't able to get, so really tough to support that. There's rumors with this report Boris Kick put out that after this test screen they might just delete it, like burn the footage, so that could prove to the IRS like, hey, we're never going to use this and stuff like that. They're saying that that might not fully happen, but that's been something that's been brought up. That fucking sucks. This is a weird thing, right? Because it's just weird of people to report it. My hope is that it's just like, yeah, Summer Hands, if Batgirl doesn't get leaked after this, I'll be so upset. You know they're checking their phones at the door. You know, cameras, phones, everything. I hope there's some good employee out there that gets a copy of that DVD. But what did these people say, right? The directors, they said that there was scenes they had to shoot and only minor FX had been done. So it'd be very much like the Snyder Cut way before, when it was debatable if it's real or not. The like assembly cut of it didn't have effects. Like the cut before 70 million, that's what the Batgirl cut is. Now, sure, would I like to see that? Great, release that if you can, but now it's even less likely as far as you got this tax write-off stuff, and now it's like it hasn't been finished. And even though it was like weeks away from post-production, the directors kind of say to me otherwise, as far as maybe it was weeks away from being done post-production, but just like a phase of it. So they're doing these screenings where people are coming to watch in one last hurrah. And I don't know if I would want to do that personally. I guess there is some sentiment to it, but at the same point, it's just like, hey, I found out. I don't know. It's like you broke up with somebody, and maybe it's the person that they cheated on you with. You broke, that situation happened, and they're like, hey, I have a videotape of you and that significant other getting on. You're never gonna have sex with that person ever again, but I have a videotape. You can come over and watch it for one last time, see. Or even like, I guess like it's some couples do that. That's like, I don't think I ever intentionally did that, of like people break up and then do like the one last night together. That's what this feels like. If this is happening, it just feels odd of like, I'm gonna go there and watch this film that's never gonna be seen, and I would just be pissed about it. And it's like, what's not done and what could have been. I feel like some people might say, oh, it's Warner Brothers extending hand, being a nice, being nice, letting people see their work one last time. But it's like, no, what would be nice is putting the weight behind it and letting them finish a film and releasing it. Even if it's on HBO Max, a new app, whatever it may be, selling it off. They're fucking selling Batman Cape Crusader. I guarantee you somebody would buy a fucking Batman movie or Batgirl movie with Michael Keaton in there and J.K. Simmons and Brendan Fraser, who Brendan Fraser is about to have a fucking career renaissance. He's winning awards at TIFF. He's winning the same awards that Joaquin Phoenix won. I'm missing all the other ones. He's winning awards right now that all like lots of the previous best actresses had won the year before. It's just, so that's where it's just like this. That just again feels like a slap in the face. If they go to, I would never tell them, oh, you're wrong for going that. No, you make whatever choice is best for your life. You do what you got to do. But it's just, I don't know. That's a weird thing, funeral screenings. And I think the reason they describe it like that is just because it's a somber mood. You go there and you're just seeing something that could never release. It's like, I've had that too before, where it's like, to the smallest degree. But I've told a story before where I got a movie that's half shot, but because we had some leads, we had 3 of the leads move at all the exact same time. We tried to finish as much as we can, and we just couldn't, right? And it's fine because I never fully finished it. It was an early film, and it's something I still want to do one day. So my hope is that I will not complete that one, but start anew. But it does suck where it's like, oh, I have this footage where it's just kind of fun, blooper reel stuff, or fun like what could have been. And I keep it because like that's time of when I was, that age, and some of my friends. And plus, if I do ever do this film, likely with GeekVerse we would, it's like good to kind of have like, I would put that on a behind the scenes. Like when we make our films, we've talked about this before, we're going to put them and see if people will put them in festivals, like them and stuff like that. And if not, it's going to be thrown on a Venmo or a Patreon, and it's going to be for our fans. Cause I'm at that stage where I'm happy with my life, and I'm just going to make it for the people I want and for ourselves and stuff like that. But you guarantee you there's going to be bonus features. That's why I've kept that stuff. Unlike Warner Brothers, not going to be keeping that stuff supposedly. Espo says, if I'm a Warner Brothers employee, I go to that funeral screening, I'm being there with those camera glasses, body cam, and at least 3 hidden iPhones. And I hope that happens. Again, it's a smaller version of the film, so alas, it wouldn't be what we'd hope it to be. But yeah, unfortunately, I feel bad for those people, but if they wanted to see it one last time, I hope they went to go see it. So let's take an ad break, and we'll be right back with some more topics that have to do with this and some other stuff. So here we go. And we're back. Don't know why I said here we go for to take an ad break. No one's saying here we go for that. Man. Oh man, I realized because all the news I was supposed to watch one thing. I did not watch the Pinocchio trailer. People in the chat, let me know. What did you think about the Pinocchio trailer? And I'm gonna shout out your thoughts on this, and I'll talk about the next Travis told you. I'm gonna watch it because I have kids. I'm sure it's going to be just like the other Disney Plus ones. Fine. Tom Hanks is in it, so that's great. Can't wait to see the GV filmography. Yeah, I can't too, man. That's part of the whole reason. Let's see, haven't seen it yet, as Bubs, but yeah, that's part of the whole reason as far as doing changes with life and everything like that. But even with these 5 weeks, and I have written, because here's a little, people love when I do this little scoop. So I was supposed to finish the script. I don't know if it's going to be finished in these 5 weeks I had off because I took on Trash Told You. That's usually 4 hours, then watching the kids. So luckily, our plan is to shoot something next year. But the good thing is, with how GeekVerse has risen, we're still planning on doing this, but it's, as we said, it was the biggest mistake announcing podcasting can be murder. I should have been, not biggest mistake, but I should have kept it quiet, but we were excited about it. And it's just because at that point, as we've said before, we were planning like, okay, we kind of know our schedule. It's going to be lighter at this time. We're going to film it. And then around that December is when the podcast really kind of blew up again. Because it was like Endgame, we had this huge height, and then COVID, like everyone else, it just fucking not tanked, but like what our projections were. And we're like, oh, we got new ad people and sponsors and this and that. We're with Spreaker and iHeart. It was a big 180 of woo. And it was that fact of, okay, well, times are down. We could do this film because we all want to do this film, like multiple. Now it's turned into, we have a list like 5 films we want to do, and I can't say them all. I also don't want to say them so people could steal them and stuff like that. But that's the goal to shoot next year, and I've always said that. I'm not guaranteeing that anymore because even with our plans of next year and everything like that, huge mistake. New Rockstar's thumbnail. Yeah, 100%. I should put a red eye thumbnails when I tell the story. And Podcast Murder will be made one day, but now that's not even the first film we're making because same thing. People moved away and some for school and they're coming back, so we have to time and everything like that. So What Is He Cooking is my favorite one. Absolutely. What Is He Cooking? The Thanos thumbnail is my favorite, and people don't use it enough. I love it because I feel like that was my introduction to those, like the memeing of those, and maybe I'll put that same thing one day. What is he cooking? But yeah, our plan is to next year, especially because the tough thing with this particular film, it's time sensitive with the weather. So we got lots of stuff. But we hoped to do that, but it's just tough because the good thing is to keep this going, to keep it growing, we got to work more and do more content. That gives me less time to write. That gives me less time to shoot, everything like that. So that's the plan. But I guarantee, this is what I will guarantee you: before we die, there will at least be one movie made, and we're gonna. I think we're gonna make once we're all new to this small business. People are coming in and out. Jessica's back, Dylan's back. We're figuring out schedules, figuring out different spin-off shows, the surveys. Go do the surveys, tons of stuff. So we thank you all for letting us do that, and we're very excited. The first film, I feel like, as I've said before, Lighthouse, Hereditary, Midsommar. If you guys like the weird shit, we're making that. That's what we're making. We're making something fucking a little loopy stuff that even when I pitched Taylor, he was like, oh, I don't know if I want to film that. I was like, don't worry, you're not in that scene. It's somebody else. Maybe it's me, but there's some fun stuff going on there. So Pinocchio, if you watch trailer, let me know. If not, then that's fine. We'll talk about next one. I'll be watching it with the kids. The other thing that I'm very excited about is Evil Dead Rise. So we'd heard a bunch of stuff that originally made for HBO Max, right? If you don't know, this is a sequel. Don't think it has anything to do with the remake or Bruce Campbell's version, Sam Raimi's version, etc. I think it's supposed to be taking place in a hotel or apartment. I suppose you may know more because I've been an Evil Dead fan longer than you, but I think you are a bigger Evil Dead fan than me now officially. And I love those. Like I put Evil Dead's like maybe the first and the remake in the top. I don't know if it'd be top 10 for sure, but maybe one of them. They're up there as far as the best horror film stuff like that. It's in a high rise building. Very clever. Gotta like it. So the rumors were this was is actually supposed to be for HBO Max, and then apparently they did some test screenings. They shot through the roof and did really, really well. So then there was this back and forth of, hey, are they going to make it theatrical? Is it going to be HBO Max? Whatever it may be. And lots of scoopers saying, hey, I've heard good things, but not a big update, but it should be soon. There's somebody that had some, I don't want to step on people. So there's all like this conjecture of when's it going to happen, and especially too with all this stuff getting canceled. It was like, man, this sucks because this could go next, like a low budget horror film. Now I gotta look, when did it get dated again? Oh man, someone tell me was it March or The Nun 2 that also got dated for September 8th. That'll make money because those movies do. Oh, when was it? Was it actually? It wasn't March because April. April. So what's coming out in April? On a Wing on a Prayer. Oh boy. No. Super Mario Bros. Okay, so that's a good month for it, especially because horror films. I think horror films can sometimes do better than other ones because it has like its own little slant of the audience that might not be seeing family movies, superhero movies, stuff like that. Let's see. Bruce Campbell pretty much leaked he was going to theaters. He leaked that the characters from the movie are all coming to the game as well. Okay, that's good. That would have sucked if that movie got canceled and they came to the game. Yeesh. But no, it looks like it's happening, coming out in April. Very excited. Now that gives us, because we joked about this. We're like, hey, if this comes out this year, I don't think we're going to do a retro. We've always wanted to do a retro of these, but I think now it's very much in the cards too. And it's only 4 films, so look out for that. So yeah, Evil Dead coming out in April. Can't wait for a trailer. Can't wait for more Evil Dead. And I like that theatrical. I've always said that the dream world is that it's theatrical and streaming, so you do get the choice. Obviously, I know for business wise, streaming or something being torrented, there are issues there. But I like, if I want to see a film in the theaters, I got the option. And Evil Dead is definitely one I want to do that with. So, and then the other thing I had lastly for the movie news, and then I'm going to be talking about wrestling. So people that don't listen to wrestle, they can bow out after She-Hulk is what we'll be talking about, because She-Hulk numbers came out. So it got a 1.5. I think that's a little lower than where I was. Kirklin was high. I think he was saying he was gonna like beat Moon Knight or something like that. I think he was like at a 2.1 or something. Fucking madman. But as always, to put it in perspective, low, and this is for 5 days. So 5 days of streaming numbers again at Samba. So with Samba, it's not an exact measurement. There's some TVs that can say, hey, I don't want any part of this, and you'll never know. So the number's definitely always high, right? It's just an estimate or kind of a gauge of. Loki, season 1, 2.5, which Chris and I were talking the GUA chat. He brought up a good point that I forgot that Loki season 2 is happening. Very interested to see what that does. Like, it was Loki just a full-on, lightning in a bottle, or is it always going to be like the top dog? Like, I'm not expecting to get to 2.5, but will it get to the second place, 2.3? I would say no. I would say it's probably going to go like a 1.9, maybe 2, just in my opinion. But depends those trailers, and they'll be hyping up a lot with Kang and everything. But I don't know. I think just that first hype of Loki felt special, and now with it being a continuing series, people might feel less about that. But you have that. Then you had Moon Knight and Falcon Winter Soldier tied at 1.8. WandaVision was 1.6, and then Hawkeye and She-Hulk was 1.5, and then Miss Marvel was like 900 something. Either way, it was under a million. So, third lowest, right? Not bad, but it's funny. Like when Hawkeye came out, we went, "Oh man, it's Hawkeye. Should have been higher." And I agree with that because it's original Avenger. It's just so funny that the original Avengers aren't the biggest draws. It's Loki, who was in the original movie, but a villain, and then next it's Moon Knight, completely new character, and Falcon Winter Soldier, 2 characters that weren't in there. When they show Mobius jet ski in trailer, it's hitting 3 million views. Maybe I forgot about that until I went camping this weekend and saw a guy on jet ski. I'm like, right, Mobius is going to do that one day. But it's interesting that you'd think they would pull more. Now, of course, it's not like the biggest guns. And you look at Hulk, he had his 2008 film. It wasn't the biggest hit, and then no films after that, right? Hawkeye never got a film. So I get that point, but I still thought it would do. I thought it would do better than WandaVision. I know people say, well, that was the first one. There was some hype there. And even then, it's just a point under, right? But still, I thought it was going to get there. I think the good thing about this, though, is so far I've seen majority. There's always some people out there. But the majority of people that were, I don't know about the series, feel like they're pretty happy with it. Even if it's not the best show of Marvel Disney Plus, it is getting a lot of praise. And I even liked it more. Check out our She-Hulk review, dropping tomorrow. I liked it. I had a bar, but I've liked it like from the marketing show even more than I thought. So I think it will catch on. I think it will do well in the reoccurring weeks and repeat views and stuff like that. With Miss Marvel, I still talk to people that it did not, still haven't seen it. Like, I got no interest. I'll wait for the Marvels. Like I saw with Kyle, he keeps it all up on the stuff, and he did no. There's just other things I'd rather watch in my 20,000-hour flight from Australia. And I think that show is having trouble pulling people in. Marvels will hopefully kind of retroactively do that. She-Hulk, I think the word of mouth is really going to help. And I think just because it is shorter, easy to consume. So not a bad number. It's still getting like Hawkeye. Like these are still, they're all in the realm. I said to me, I think the problem would have been like, yes, it is the third lowest, but the problem to me would have been if Miss Marvel got under a million and then this got under a million. That would be, I don't even think that would be the whole fucking go woke, get broke sort of thing. No, I think that would just be, okay, this is a sign that the fatigue is starting to hit from MCU shows and maybe you got to slow it down or position them better. But no, and plus this could show that we'll see what happens with Andor, but the good thing with it being on a separate day, shouldn't get affected too much. So we'll see what it keeps doing. I'm excited for episode 2, excited to see where we go. And yeah, so I'm going to take our last ad break. And as I said before, if you're not a wrestling fan, you can tune out, come back for She-Hulk. We'll be doing a new, well, not really a newscast. I guess I should promote it. We're recording live on Thursday, which is tomorrow, our D23 predictions. I think it's going to be tons of fun. We're going to talk about the Disney, Marvel, and Star Wars stuff. We're going to do predictions, all that sort of jazz and things like that. And that will release for the main feed next week. But if your patrons will be getting that early, but we'll be recording it live, so you can tune into that. Yeah, so, and there'll be another Travis Told You at some point, I guess tomorrow. Espo says, I've been loving listening to all these wrestling stories and drama. That, then you're going to really like this next topic, legitimately, because there's lots of juice to it and everything like that. But if you don't tune into that, I appreciate it. And I do appreciate the people that are tuning in, because on the feeds, the cutout stuff are doing well. So much like people are trying to keep Travis Told You around, you never know what might pop up in the hemisphere of wrestling. But we'll take an ad break and we'll be right back. And we're back. So yeah, so tonight AEW happened, Dynamite. Oh boy. So let's start with the main thing. And I hate this. There's a podcast, and I get why podcasters do this, right? There's two things that they do that I get but don't like. The one I've always shouted is, you have a main topic and the main topic is 5 minutes, they move on. I get why they do it. It's a flashy headline, gets people to tune in, but I hate that. I feel cheated and I start listening to you a little less. I get it if it's a big trailer, because it's like, okay, there might not be too much to add, but still, it's just, sometimes you can feel, they just put it in there and then they got more things to talk about. The second thing is, I get it, and I've even tinkered with this before, and I think it's something that me and GeekVerse have talked about, probably we'll talk about in the future, where the whole thing, there's the main biggest news and they keep it to the very end. I get why people do that, and I'm saying this, and we might even do that at some point, but for me, as somebody that wants to tune in right away and get that, I hate that, because I got to stay the whole show, and usually I will just wait till the show airs and skip that part, but there's the odd time where I will stick with it. But yeah, so this happened like right off the presses tonight. So I had talked about this earlier this week, where you got CM Punk, right? There was controversy where came back from injury. He's going to have a match. It's much like UFC, where there is a main champion and the interim champion, CM Punk and Jon Moxley. CM Punk is the main champion. He's coming back. He goes and he's not cunting anything. Goes and cuts a promo on a wrestler named Hangman Adam Page. That was not scripted, and it was not in the plans. And he went out the books and kind of went business for himself, because in real life they have personal issues and wanted to call him out. And the basis of that was, hey, come out here and do something, or you're a coward. Doesn't come out. And that character is a good guy, so you would not want that character to be a coward. They've both responded in cheeky ways about, retorting and stuff like that. I hope Hangman does get something, as far as, I'm hoping he's on Rampage this week, because I feel that if Tony Khan doesn't let him respond, it's kind of a little bit of a chicken shit thing. So this all happens, right? Espo says, there's a podcast I love, but they always have 6-hour casts with no timestamps, and they always talk about other stuff for 4 hours before getting the main topic. And that's why we, because people brought that up in the survey, where it's completely a different topic we'll talk about in the town hall, but that's why we do the cutouts. Someone said, oh, don't do the cutouts. We don't do the timestamps, because the problem with that is, if we have people will come on here, Manscaped or something like that, and they pay us to promote that, right? That's why we do offer the ad-free feed. You can skip past that, and that's 100%, right? But that is proof that people have listened to it and at least had some knowledge of it. If we give timestamps, those will be completely skipped over. And that's why, from, breaking the fourth wall, that's why we do that. But that's why we have the cutout. So if you want to just listen to this topic, it's there. Or, the main topic is the first one, and then you can continue to listen to the episode. That's GeekVerse for you. So tonight, the match, CM Punk, Jon Moxley. So it was a squash match. For people that don't know in the wrestling world, Espo, you'll appreciate this, and any others. A squash match is, if you watched Infinity War, I'm sure you have, and it's the Hulk versus Thanos, and lots of people did not like that fight because it was just very one-sided. That is a squash match. That is, wrestler A goes in the ring and kicks the shit out of wrestler B, and it makes them look strong. Jon Moxley squashed CM Punk. CM Punk is not a wrestler you squash. He is I would say their hottest commodity. You could go one, but I would still say their hottest commodity in the company as far as revenue, uh, buzz, stuff like that. You don't squash a guy like that. Now, this leads to a whole bunch of stuff as far as there's scenario A and scenario B. The scenario A is the hottest, like shit's hit the fan as far as, he cut that promo last week and lots of problems happened. So it was a quick, gonna drop the title. I'm out of this company. See you later. That could happen. That could be the case where they had problems. They couldn't come together. He's had some issues. There's been this week lots of reports of some people saying he's justified. Some people saying he is like bad for the locker room and everything he talked about when he was younger, not wanting people to be he's being that. You never know in these wrestling situations. It's just like in the movies and stuff like that. There's tons of rumors and it's always from somebody with a different perspective, right? So that's scenario one that, okay, he did business. He didn't leave with the title. He did business, dropped it, done. Scenario B, which what I think it is that it's a work, and work means it was planned, but it was kind of like a shoot plan as far as everyone is buzzing about this stuff, right? What's going on? Is CM Punk going to leave? What's going to happen with this controversy? A squash match would make people think, okay, he is in trouble. They're batting heads. We're going to go the other way. Fine. I think it's a work because at first I thought, oh shit, the way they squashed him, I thought it was okay. I think Moxley and Punk are nice enough that's like, okay, fine, he's gonna put over this guy, be done with it. Alas, here we are, and he just wants to get out of there, and he did a good job as far as like the way he was acting when he held up the title. Looked like it was kind of like his last time or something like that, but. Well, I think it's a work is they played it up quite a bit. Two things is he went for a kick. If you didn't know, he was out because he broke his leg. He went for a kick. He planted his foot and he right away held it, right? He was down. And then you had Moxley beat him up for like a minute, hit his finisher maneuvers and pin him. And the second he started doing the elbows, whatever they call like the rampage elbows or the running elbows, whatever they are, he just takes the guy and just elbows him in the head over and over. I'm like, oh shit, they're going to have him beat him here. That's where in the moment, I'm like, is this a good work, or is this like a, hey, we're fucking done with each other, let's just be done with business and move on? At that point, I was really 50-50. As I got to see more, I was like, okay, I think it is a work because, so you have that, right? He has the leg, it hurts, and then Moxley beats him up. So one, it is, hey, you can say the reason he beat him so easily is because he was injured. And even the commentators are saying, did he come back too early? Did he come back too early? Now, lots of these commentators aren't scripted, so they're just going with what thoughts pop in their head, and that's a good story to tell. But there could be somebody saying, hey, make sure you say this line when this storyline happens. And that's why I love wrestling, because there's always the best storylines are the blurring of the lines of what's real and what's not. And Punk was always great at that. And I think he knows eating a quick loss would do that. They have this thing where he gets out of the ring, doctors are looking at him, and they're like, taking him out and everything, and he just does like this look back like he's in shock. That look back to me was like okay, I think they're working here. And it is odd because the other route of, hey, they're not getting along and not doing business is, why would you have him get squashed? Because this was supposed to be like the summer of Punk. This was supposed to be, hey, he's going to go on this long run, and that's why they didn't want to strip him of the title, because he's going to go on this long run and do lots of great things for the business. The counter is, one, like I said, it's just a good storyline to get some buzz going. Two, it is his leg is legitimately hurt, and like obviously it was hurt, but some people theorize that maybe it was so hurt where they thought, oh, I could be back at this point. And then once he got there, it's like, we can't do this. Let's just drop the title and build something down the line, right? Because that is the story. That is the comeback story of, I wasn't ready. I thought I was. I am this time. Let's fucking go. And you get to beat, like kind of what people thought was going to happen in Endgame, where Hulk's going to come back and kick the shit out of Thanos. We never got that comeuppance. So that's my ideas. What I think it is a work. I think they're great on doing the buzz. It was something unexpected, right? And I think this is good as far as, I don't know if, like I said, if Punk is still hurt or if they're going to do the rematch right away, because it was planned for the pay-per-view. Then they moved it to this week. So there was nothing said about that. I think they're going to be very coy later on of like what's been going on with the storyline and stuff like that, and leave Punk alone for a bit. But there's a story there, and maybe the coolest, not a bad thing, because when he got introduced, I think this is the most, other than when they do the MJF storyline there in Jersey, I think it's like the most I've heard Punk booed in AEW. So the people were souring or turning on what happened last week. They weren't cool with it, just like myself, diehard Punk fan, but it's like, this just is a line you don't cross, in my opinion. So Man, it was very well done of it as a work. And let's say the other scenario, Devil Advocate, like let's say it is they had problems and this was just to get the title off him quick and then to part ways. Man, what up? I would say kudos to Punk for that because he put either way. Kudos to Punk because he put over Moxley huge. Like a guy of his caliber should not be getting squashed, but he did it and it was shocking and it has people talking. So very smart. And in a time where they need people talking about AEW because WWE's kind of like getting back up there, doing these things. Some other stuff from the show I'm just pulling up to do a little reminder there. But the main event, man, so good. It was a 6-man tag because they're doing those 6-man titles. It was Aussie Open versus Death Triangle. If you want to see a match, and this is where, S-Bubs, I don't think you have any interest in starting to watch wrestling, but if you ever do, and you just want to watch a match where these guys are trying to fucking like kill each other, do like the crazy shit ever, alas, this was this match. There was chops going on that were nuts. There was just like maneuvers I could not believe. People landing in ways where like, obviously it's a ring, it's padded, but it's like the body's not supposed to land that way. Really good match, really great main event. Just like I said, a complete adrenaline rush. Aussie Open wins because they kind of cheated with. They're doing this storyline where there's a wrestler named Kip Sabian. Oh, Chris Evans, a fellow wrestle fan. They need more Dan Harrelson. They do. I think that's a big problem with AEW in general, that they've just signed so many guys that they just wanted to get, this person has buzz, this person has buzz. But there's so many people that just sit on the back burner now, like someone like Andrade, somebody, even to an extent like Pac, where he's been the the All-Atlantic champion, and this is the first time I think we've seen it on TV since then. We've not seen that's an AEW title. We've not seen it defended on TV once, like national TV. Weird. Doesn't make much sense to me. I think it's just he has lots of guys, and I know he has ROH coming, but still, like, use them correctly and don't sign so many, But they did this storyline where there's a guy named Kip Sabian. He was injured. He came back, but they're doing this story where he was sitting in the front row of the crowd with a bag over his head, with a cardboard bag with eyes cut out, and just said like underrated, over it, or stuff like that. I don't think enough people picked up on the story, and the whole, I guess, thing was at one point, he's calling out Pac. Pac goes, this bad guy tonight, takes it off. It's somebody that's standing there with tape over their mouth like hostage. Doesn't make much sense. He's in a live crowd. He could just run away, and then Kip Sabian attacks him. So you're telling me you got this guy injured. Okay, we got to bring him back. What should we do? Well, let's put a bag over his head. Let's put him in the front row. And then the big reveal, it's going to be him, and he's going to attack Pac, and that's going to set up a title program. If that was the payoff, and this guy was in the front row for like months doing this story. If that was the payoff, one of the lamest things this company's ever done. Lame. Just stupid. No. Can't justify it to me. Just weird. Just let the guy stay at home then. If he's still even injured, just let him heal up. Don't have him here having a bag over his head. I don't know. Very weird choice. But then because of Aussie Open, next week they'll be versus the Elite with my man Kenny Omega, my favorite wrestler right now. Always tied with Punk, but I definitely would say Kenny right now, especially just in the ring. It's Kenny, and I'm always rooting for Kenny because I always still feel like there's somewhat of an underdog because it's like now he has this momentum of a career that people compare against him, and he has to like live up to that all the time. But with him and Will Ospreay, who's on the Aussie Open, there's that thing of like blurring the lines again where they've taken shots and said things about another, and you don't really know how much of it is real and how much is it not. You don't know how much is it that these guys actually dislike each other, how much are they working. It's going to be very interesting next week because they've said some stuff that's pretty like below the belt as far as their careers go and not sugarcoating it. But if they are working, they're doing a great job. And Kenny Omega is very smart at working, but like I said, working smartly, not pissing people off. And if this is the case, then maybe he has pissed them off. But in the sense of he doesn't do anything accidentally. I mean, I don't think he would do anything like when he did the whole kind of shitting on Ospreay, saying like, "Oh, he's a guy with a bunch of boring 5-star matches." That was at his own time in the interview. I'm fine with that because Ospreay shit on him before too. The whole like Punk thing, that's a bit different. But yeah, next week they tease it today. He was gonna go in the ring and fight, but Don Callis, who's like a bad guy manager, since Kenny's back, he's been more on the good side, like stopped him from doing it. So it's gonna be interesting to see that kind of deterioration, what's gonna go on. They did announce that the Dark Order has a mystery, like someone's out and they need a new partner. I really hope it's Hangman because then we get Hangman and the Dark Order versus the Elite and just the emotion there. And the last time, they were in a ring together, it was Kenny versus Hangman for the main title. My God, that's the Elite drama I fucking want right there. So, Show open with Chris Jericho, Daniel, or Bryan Danielson. He even did it mistakenly. Daniel Garcia just leading to hey, Daniel has to pick a side, pick a group. He says he doesn't want to do it in public. Really good promo by him for a guy that's not like a big promo guy. This just set up Jericho versus Bryan Danielson. Fuck. It is Bryan Danielson. I got it right that time. Like I said, I knew for Bryan Danielson for my whole life until he got WWE, and then I got screwed up and had to learn it the other way around. Now I'm having to relearn it. Him and Jericho, that's a good pay-per-view match. That sells. It's good to put on a poster, stuff like that. And it's fun because like that was the first WWE match Daniel Bryan had in NXT, right? And that like made him a star. So there's lots of full circle stuff there. I think that's really good. They're teasing Lionheart, but it's like Lionheart Jericho just lost. So I don't know. Then we got Dax Harburg versus Jay Lethal. Really solid match. Dax is just on fucking fire right now, just putting out kind of banger after banger matches. Jay Lethal got the win because he cheated. And then they announced that it's going to be Lethal team up with the Motor City Machine Guns versus Wardlow and FTR. I feel like Wardlow's like the low-hanging totem pole guy here because I don't think people care as much about him in this scenario. But we're getting FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns. One of the huge highlights of when I used to watch TNA was I loved Alex Shelley. And I like Chris Sabin too, but those two together were phenomenal. And they were putting on, when tag team wrestling was like dead, they brought it back with like the Dudleys and Beer Money and stuff like that. Like they really brought it back. So that is a huge, and that could open the show. That's going to be like tonight, like an adrenaline filled, like great tag team. Putting FTR and Machine Guns together, man, that is lots of juice going on right there. And then this fucking sucks. Thunder Rosa announced that she's injured, has to drop the title, and there's going to be a new champion. I'm not sure if it was an interim champion they're going to be doing again, or if it's just a complete new champion, but that sucks. I don't want anyone's reign to end like that. Thunder Rosa was really popular. I think the booking of the women's division at AEW has been very poor as of late. Tony has shown that he has no interest in like trying to get that better. It just feels like it's a box he ticks, and he still wants to be stars, but I don't know. It's just the fact that they're still just getting one match. And I know people said, oh, well, they got kind of some lower ratings and, TNT or Warner Bros. Like, maybe, only have the girls on once. Make them bigger characters. That was the same case for WWE back in the day with the divas, but now they are the women wrestlers and they're main event in WrestleMania. Sometimes the best part of the show. Don't take that route. I get he's a newer company, so maybe it has to start it, but I feel like even the times where they are on, it's the weakest part of AEW. And it didn't used to be that when it started. I thought it was like a good even balance of having multiple, but no, it's been something that needs improvement. And I feel that he's going to get asked about some presser and he's going to give some long-winded Tony answer, but it's not good enough until like, hey, let's get a change. This was a very weird segment. We had the gun, like Colton Gunn versus his dad, Billy Gunn. There was a moment when they came back from commercial break and they said, oh, Billy Gunn's beating his son against the pole. Bad wording, bad timing on that, but it's fine. Colton got the win by cheating. They just used this to set up the Acclaim versus Swerve and Keith Lee, which Keith Lee, I think that's another one's been kind of misutilized. I know it's great that he's in a tag team, but even the tag team just feels random. It felt kind of out of nowhere. I like them enough. I hate the name Swerve in our Glory or whatever it is. It just set up, okay, they're versus at the pay-per-view. Weird way of we saved you and we want to give you a title match, and Acclaim's like, well, you don't have to give us one. We earned it. All right. I don't I don't know. Not one of the stronger setups. Around this time we had Britt versus Kylie King. A good solid match. I've not seen enough of Kylie King's work to, be in love with it, but I thought it was solid. But this announced that we're going to get Hikaru Ashida versus Britt Baker versus Jamie Hayter versus Toni Storm in a fatal 4-way to decide the new women's champion. Lots of great talent there. I think they're going to have a really great match. The women always have like great matches at these pay-per-view, or at least good matches. It's just the support after. I think if I had to pick, and maybe I'll do predictions next week, I think it would be Tony that's going to win it. What I would want is Jamie Hayter. Jamie Hayter is fantastic. I did not know her until she joined AEW. She's just a powerhouse, like workhorse type of individual. Enjoy all her work. She always has these really underrated matches. She's great at selling, and I think it'd be great if she won and this started the divide of either whoever turned babyface or heel. It doesn't matter, of her and Britt because they're friends. that's my hope. And I hope that this would be a good, like, kind of, oh, good, thanks for all this hard work you've been putting in. And especially sometimes she's just like the background of Britt Baker. That could be her chance to shine and put on even like better matches and stuff like that as far as getting a bigger spotlight. So I'm really pulling for Hater because I really like the work she's put in and stuff like that. I like her character, everything like that. So really pulling for her there. Let's see here. And even then, look at the women's match. 3 minutes and 54 seconds. What some of these matches are getting. Now, obviously, the Moxley Punk one was like that, but that was supposed to be a squash. Like, there's some of these matches, like the Death Triangle. How long do they get? I don't know. There's no time here, but it's like they got like almost a full half hour. So, yeah, that was AEW. And that was Travis Told You. I will be back, I guess, on the 26th, somewhere in there. You'll be getting a new episode dropping on Friday, what Travis Told You. Thank you, everyone that tuned in tonight. Had lots of fun in the chat, seen some people that I haven't seen in a little bit. So thank you very much. And I promise when you hear from me next, it'll not be boring.